Hey, everybody, and welcome back to SharkNation Live number 45. I'm going to go a little State of the Union for the systems and processes today. Jason, how's it going?
Dude, today is a great day, my friend. Today is a fantastic day. Just got done with the closing for some of my clients. That's why we're running a little bit late here. 16-unit apartment building,
Okay.
right? A lot of renovation, a lot of construction loan. I mean, it was a long time coming with it. So super pumped for them. Good buddies of mine. We just went to the Giants Viking football game together. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what they do with this thing. It's going to be an awesome property. And then as far as the team goes, personally, that transaction is our last one needed to hit Icon. So we just hit Icon for the 5th straight year, one for the thumb. So we're pumped up about that. So today's a freaking awesome day. And then after our podcast, we got onboarding for a bunch of new agents that are joining the team. So yeah, today's freaking fire, man. I'm ready to freaking get after it. Pumped.
Yeah, I've noticed a good, making the calls with my team this morning. I noticed a lot of I don't know, conversations, activity. There's just, I don't know, it feels like a good week ahead here. There's a lot, maybe it's the Fed rate, and people are looking up that isn't just going, up endlessly like it was. And there's finally a tick the other way. I don't know, but we've definitely had a lot coming out on our end,
And here's the thing too, just to touch on that, one, the Fed thing, I kind of chimed in on that the other day and had some not so nice people saying some not so nice things, but look at in the position we're in, I don't care. It wasn't about that. It was about, kind of giving people hope about, a possibility for, more affordability in housing. That's it. But what you're saying as far as more action and traction, right? What was yesterday? First day of what?
Oh, spring or fall.
Which see, you're in Florida. You don't even have freaking seasons.
Yeah, I know. I say spring, fall. So that's it's endless summer, but that's fall, right? Right? Is it fall?
It's fall, right? So in our area, it's a good time to be calling people because more people are starting to kind of settle in from the summer. All the kids are back to school and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good time to prospect, right? ABP, always be prospecting.
Yeah, and well, I think what's important. So I had a call today with somebody. We're gonna, well, I think what's important is like, they were just looking like they weren't very serious, and and I made it very clear. I'm like, look, I'm not like here to like sell you something you don't want to buy, but if there's something that makes sense, I want to definitely find that. And for them, they're really close to the Gulf, and some of these hurricanes they've been annoyed with. Down here in Florida. So, we're just evacuating or flooding or different things. They were just, not that we get really much in Tampa, but where they are, they're in a spot where they're, affected. I'm like, if you're 5 miles further in, you're not going to deal with any of that. So, she said she was not looking at all when she opened the call, but I just got to know her. I'm like, well, I'm curious. What do you think about the market? And got to know her and found a problem. And I said, well, look, here's the deal. You could not buy for 2 years, not move for 5, never call me again. Would it be helpful if I sent stuff that made sense to change that in the meantime? And she said 100%, absolutely. That would be great. So I think it's important to note, because I think like we're on here, we're always talking, make the calls. And it's so true 100%. But I think I need to also remind when you're making the calls, it's to be a human being on the calls. So it was really, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like, it's not a sales game. Like it's not, it's not a sales game.
We just had our Monday morning pods, right? So, our team huddles kind of start the week out, right? We talk about, our deals and all that kind of stuff. But Adiel on the team, was like, I finally got what you were saying with like the LP Mama stuff, right? It's not about following a script to a T. It's just about building relationships, building rapport, and asking good questions and handling objections, and keep asking good questions. And she's like, now it's clicking. So I'm super pumped to see, her journey with it, because, like you said, a lot of times people don't get certain trainings. And now when it finally clicks and they see like the aha moment, another thing that we did today was Top 5 must-haves, right? Trying to figure out clarity is kindness. Talking to Rick on the team, and he's like, well, they're kind of looking in like a general area, like, oh, they want to be in the country. Well, what does that mean? I'm like, the reason that you haven't found a house is because you haven't been specific on the area. Why do they want to move there? Do they want to be closer to work, right? Within a certain driving range? Because if we can find out the motivation of why they want to be in a certain place, or hey, do they want to keep the kids in the same school district, right? And then we could kind of narrow the search. And I told him it's going to be like, I don't know if you're too young for this. Do you ever see Where's Waldo?
I mean,
I don't know where you're at. Your generation, you're skipping a beat. You guys are. I don't know what's going on with you guys, but anyway, I'm like, it's going to be like a Where's Waldo moment where you're going to be like, oh, there it is. I found it, right? And then it's going to stick out like a freaking sore thumb, and you're going to be like, yes, that's the house, and getting that clarity.
100%. And that's really, well, that's a good trade. So first off, on a system, that is, I tell my buyers, directly, like, I think it's good to have accountability is the greatest form of love somebody can show you. So, it's that friend that tells you that what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and that's a lot of what I have to do. So one of my tools that I use to do that is I get your top 5. And I did this with a buyer last week, actually. One of my tools is to get your top 5. And the key is with that top 5, I'm just straight up. I'm like, as if it checks every box on there, we should be making an offer. And if it doesn't, then I want to revisit and see what I'm missing. And it happens. It's okay. Because, once you get out there, you start seeing, you have different feelings. But it's a framework that we can stay in to help, reduce the amount of showings you have to have. Not for me to make more money. You have to go see the houses. Your time is important. Shouldn't we value that?
Yeah. And Tammy had the same situation where she's like, I went out on this with the family like 5 weekends in a row. And I'm like, well, you're not being specific on where you want to go, or else you could limit those down, right? Because that was another one that was like, oh, I'm looking for the countryside or this and that, or I want, in our area, we have a lot of people coming from New York and New Jersey, where, you got a lot of traffic, you got a lot of hustle and bustle, and, people want a kind of quiet time, right? Just, well, what does that mean, right? Sitting down with them and just discussing that. If you had that consultation up front, you could eliminate like a bunch of these showings, because they wouldn't, you know exactly where you're going. Like, after talking to her, she's like, yeah, they want to be near their grandkids. I'm like, well, now you know where they want to be. Do you want to be, now you know the city. Once you have the city, now you can find the house. You know what I mean? So what was the motivation? What's the driver on that?
So let's switch it to systems. Let's go systems, tech systems. Let's go there. And here's what I want to do first. I want to go through me, you, lay them out, everything we use, rapid fire, no details, just names of things that we use. You first, then me.
All right. So the team, we have a Google site where it's a resource where you can be more resourceful.
No explaining.
What? I'm Italian.
We'll come back to explain. Go down your tech stack.
Okay. Go. I got Google site. We have Follow Up Boss. We have Texting Betty. We have Sisu. We have Sierra for, I'm not going to say it then, for that. And what else? I'm missing stuff. I forget. That's the main ones, though. That's kind of the core.
I say a few, I'll trigger your latter half, I'm sure.
We have Google Workspace. What else? I'm losing it.
Your team chat.
Oh, Slack we use for our team chat. Google Calendar, Zoom, we use all that kind of stuff. The whole Google suite.
Do you use your CRM phones?
Yeah. Follow Up Boss. Yeah, we for the app on the phone and on the website.
All right, cool. My favorite thing to talk about. I'm gonna go down mine. Right. Follow Up Boss, Sierra, Google Docs. I don't pay for Workspace, but we use like the free Google Everything now. Because we all have our own Gmail accounts, and for that we use Google Chat for our team chat. If anybody doesn't know, it's no explanation. But here we go.
I got shut down on my explanation. Then you're going deep into the weeds.
I stopped myself.
I'm a selfish lover. What do you
want? Just stopping, but was using Street Text for Facebook ads. Google pay-per-click through Sierra. We're using Google Sites as well for a hub. We're using, I'm trying to think of what else. Our learning management system, we have Simplero through Reside. We have Reside with all their tech stack. And I think that's majority of it. Okay, cool. So now we've laid it out. We've fleshed out. There's the parts are on the ground. Everybody sees the parts and the pieces of the business, right? So what is the most important one that you use?
For me right now, it's Follow Up Boss. I mean, the database is kind of everything that, it's a great coaching tool for me as the team leader. It's a great resource for the agents to get it out of their head, right? I have a conversation with you, 3 minute long, whatever. You're telling me all your needs, your wants, your hopes, desires, all that kind of good stuff. If I don't get it out of my head, I'm going to forget, right? The next call comes in, your day gets ahead of you. I love the database for being able to remember all the shit that I can't remember, right? For the agents, I call you 6 months from now, I'm not going to remember the conversation that we had today, but I could go into my notes, see what we talked about. Follow Up Boss has that awesome artificial intelligence thing where it breaks down the call and the conversation and all that kind of stuff for you. So it's a good reminder from people that you might not be speaking to frequently about what you talked about and how. And then when you do talk to them, they're going to be like, oh, I can't believe you remembered me, right? From a team perspective, I can track exactly, how many calls, texts, emails everybody's making to see activity level. Now, it's not to be like, the Gestapo and like over everybody's shoulder like Big Brother, but it's like, okay, it's a teaching thing. If you don't have the business that you want, I could take a look at the activity. Well, maybe you need to increase that. Or if you're making all these calls, but you're not having 2-minute conversations, needle movers, it might be, okay, what are we saying? How are you building that relationship? So I could coach on that. Okay, well, you're getting the 2-minute conversations, but you're not having appointment set or appointment met. Let's dig down into each step in the process, and I could coach on it. So I love Follow Up Boss for that.
I forgot to, by the way, Phone Sites and Flowdesk. I use Phone Sites for funnels and Flowdesk for email marketing. But I know Jason uses Flowdesk as well, because I know you're about to say it. But so yeah, I agree a ton. And, I had been in Follow Up Boss on and off over the years. I don't know why. Well, I'd always have stupid reasons. Like, one, at first it was like trying to save money, you'd switch off, then came back. And then it was, well, I could build my own CRM. And well, there was a lot of lessons learned with that one. It's the CRM, building it through Go High Level. I mean, there was a lot of extra automation ability.
A lot of shiny objects.
Well, it's funny how much it doesn't move the needle. I think that's one of the best pieces of Follow Up Boss is the simplicity inside of it. Because really what it is, like technology is, I always say this, but it's a pencil or a pen. Think about it. Without this, I can't take what's here and put it on a sheet of paper. So it's just an extension of human ability. It's supposed to make it easier, right? So you can have all the bells and whistles, but if it doesn't make it easier, it's not an effective piece of technology. So the best one is the one that you'll use, but I tend to see Follow Up Boss be it when used properly, especially in a team environment, as one of the best needle movers. But I have went, because it's the State of the Union, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have went major into having everything I can in Follow Up Boss. Oh, Folio. We're using Folio for our transaction coordination. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take the back end tasks and make those smart lists in Follow Up Boss. So last week I made a point where I'm like, all right, we're clearly in everything you just said, I agree with. And then I had the realization, like, I need to get more in there. So what we did was we took our back end tasks, put them as smart lists for our admin in Follow Up Boss. So we have that there. We link the timeline link in as a starred note in Follow Up Boss. So now our agents can see the link and get the tracker. But then my game changer for me last week was I made and this might be a little bit more.
I love this. This is amazing. I'm very excited for this.
I literally just did it Thursday. And since then I have never felt so much relief.
Freedom?
No, just clarity. Okay. What is the biggest squirrel mode time, like attention thwarting thing that you can look at in your day?
Facebook.
That might be. It's pretty good.
Social
But
media. Yeah. No, but I know where you're going with it. And this is amazing. Email. The biggest
100%.
distractor ever.
For me, because it's a task list made by other people for you.
Yeah. It's a to-do list. It's your wife's honey-do list right in front of you, but from other people that you might not even know.
So some of this is part that I have an admin that I work with, but take with it what you will from whatever position you're in. But what I did was I made in Follow Up Boss, you have what's called a team inbox, and you can connect an email account to that specific team inbox. So I had my personal Gmail and I have my Google Workspace Gmail. So what I did was I forwarded all emails to my Google Workspace email and connected that to the team inbox, shared it with my admin. All my emails go into that inbox inside my CRM on my app. So like if I missed a text from somebody, it's in there. If an email that I need to deal with, it's in there under me, but it does go to the team inbox first for my admin to check through them all and put them in there. But the main reason why I did it, aside from low centralized location, is the ability to add notes on the email. So I could leave my admin a note, hey, can you put these on my calendar, these 4 dates for kids' school events, right? Or, he can ask me, hey, what should I do with this email? Should I send this over to this person for you? So that ability to kind of chat back and forth. So, I mean, part of that's because I'm working with an admin, but just the all-in-one factor, the ability to kind of assign emails to me or him, the note-taking. But at the end of the day, so if you're a solo agent, you want to take value from this, what I have Dennis doing is checking my email at 9 a.m., at noon, 9, 11, 2, and 5. So it's a spot check, 9, 11, 2, 5. So you can do this as a solo agent. You don't need an admin for this, right? Those are my dedicated times to pick my head up and look at the email. You can make it less. You might not get 300 emails a day like I do, literally. But having that, and now I know my email's being checked 4 times a day, I can relax and it'll be handled from there. So I really broke it down, but that was a freaking game changer for me.
Because how many times do you just like forward it out and it's like, hey, take care of this or take care of that or whatever, or, you kind of, how many newsletters do we get and how much stuff? And then it's like, oh, what's that? What's that? What's this? And it's like, the next thing you know, 2 hours is shot and you're like, I didn't get nothing done, where I could have had somebody else just take a look at it and assign me anything that's important or anything that's urgent that I need to respond to. Everything else, get rid of so it doesn't distract me. Beautiful. I love it.
Now I want to add one more in and we'll question you. So, okay, so we laid
out.
Did
you do Google Chat with that too?
How so? What do you mean?
What, like into Follow Up Boss, your chats?
No, there's no way to incorporate that. I mean, what we do is, when you leave a note in Follow Up Boss, you can reply,
Yeah, so they'll just get a thing. I'm just trying to think of, kind of like you said, an all-in-one thing. Yeah.
We do that a lot, but our chat is still in Google Chat. But see, my agents are mostly in their actual Gmail. And we also use Google Meet. So like for us, you can enable, and if you don't know, you can enable on the Gmail app on iPhone and Android, not just have Gmail. You can also add Google Meet and Google Chat. It's in the settings to enable it. And when you do that, you open it up, you have like 3 buttons. You have your email button, your chat button, and your, you have a question, sir?
No. I'm not raising my hand. It just,
you look like you did.
No, you're going at it. I like it.
But you can have your email, your chat, and your Google Meet. And we switched from Zoom because I wanted all-in-one app mostly. I like Zoom, but that's why we did it. And so if you think about it, like from my team members' perspective, they log into Follow Up Boss for their CRM. They log into the Gmail app for their team chat, their meetings, and their
calendars.
Emails. And then of course there's extensions from there. Like, okay, if they're setting up searches, they're doing it in Sierra, but that's linked to Follow Up Boss. Of course, if they're in my team chat, they're looking at a Google Doc, but that's also with Google, so it's like your 2 hubs.
Love it. Any FUD people looking, add an integrated chat feature for the team. That would be sweet inside the app.
I agree.
Now, That's awesome. That's awesome. I love the tech stack. I love how you're growing it out. I love how you have you're adding things that kind of make life easier on you, right? So besides the inbox, what's the next step? What do you think other people are, or what didn't you have prior that you have now that's been a game changer?
With follow up, boss, or we
Well,
saying?
with any tech, this is
Well,
then and that. This is then and now, dude.
I'm
We're,
biased because I wanted to bring this up today, but I know where I wanted this convo to go, but it's true. I mean, if I think about what we didn't have 6 months ago versus when AI has gotten to a point now where it's actually usable throughout my workday. I primarily use Gemini because I've like Google-fied my life. I have Google everything now. But they're
Bard.
all good in their own
You
right.
mean Bard?
No, it's Gemini now.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, 6 months ago it was probably Bard, so that's
Yeah,
why this is.
yeah.
But like, so Gemini is real, and I have the Pixel phone. So, but Google Android, you can have it look at stuff on your screen. So, I just want to use what I did yesterday. I use it for work too. But like, so yesterday, Brittany had texted me things to get at the grocery store, and then I even texted her and said I also want jalapenos. All I did was hit Gemini, you click add to the screen so it knows that you're talking about your screen. And I said, make this a shopping list. And it freaking put everything she said plus the jalapenos that I said and put it in Google Keep for me as a note taking
Yeah.
with a checkbox for each one, which is like money. But I've had it. So there's some times where okay, cool. There's some times where you draw a blank. So I pulled up, so Follow Up Boss CRM on my phone. Text comes in from somebody, a lead. Little sensitive. I don't know exactly. Like I can't. Sometimes you writer's block. You don't know what to say,
Yeah.
so you ask it.
Tell me, say something smart, Gemini.
Well, I never quote exactly what it says, but it definitely helps me think. Wow, yeah, I could say something like that. You know what I mean? And like adding to the calendar, like just there's so much stuff. I would say so the AI is really, really useful, but I think having it on my phone and being able to reference what's on my screen on the fly as I'm busy as hell, like just doing things like that, like
That's sharp.
that's been money.
So if you don't have Gemini on your phone or you don't have a Google phone, one way that I have my admin doing it, and I saw him like our podcast. I'll give him props. Him and Nick for the AI 2.0. Dude, weekly email blast, social media post, and a blog, all AI generated, kind of filtered through all the stuff, SEO filters and all that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, so I give my admin task once a week. I want to do on Monday, and then we're going to have an email campaign. We're going to have a social media post for all the platforms, and we're also going to have a blog all due on Wednesday. So, and all that is I'll say, hey, and this one is actually funny because we're talking about FUB, but this one we're doing top 5 CRMs for real estate agents, right? Ones that I used or whatever, and we'll be sending that out on Wednesday. But like I said, all kind of helped with AI filters and stuff like that, and then we tweak it to make it our own.
It's a great assist. And well, I'm happy that we're talking about this because I remember something I did. I had a good friend of mine that we're looking at some homes, and he had some questions. There's this thing in Florida where you can take a portion of your difference of your assessed value versus your market value and transfer it to the new house and have some tax savings based on your old rate when you move. It's like a whole thing, and it is a little complicated. And I found the explanation of it. And I asked my screen, but here's the thing, by the way, like we're talking, if you don't have it.
Grammarly?
What's that?
We'll just do, hey, bring this down to a 3rd grade reading level.
Well, kind of, but hang there. So first off, if you don't have it on your phone, at least Gemini, you can upload a picture. So you can take a picture and just upload it into it. And a lot of them will do that. So you don't have to necessarily have it on your phone and say, ask about the screen. You can also just take a screenshot and upload it into a lot of the AIs will do that. But in this case, I was doing it on my phone and I just said, make this make sense. But then I was like, wait, because all this is about prompting. If you prompt it correctly, so then I was like, wait, and I gave it the exact price points. The current assessed value is this. The sales price would be this, and they're buying a house for this. what would this be under, and it stayed in that conversation box. What would it be based on that rule with the new taxes? And it gave me the amount. And then I said, put this all in a table, and it like put it all in a table. And now you got to watch, right? Like, okay, like you don't want to like, so I was transparent and I sent it to him and I showed him the screenshots of the AI. I said, hey, I said, this is a little complex and I haven't personally dealt with this tax rule. Here's what I'm pulling from AI. And, but it helped me, it helped him. And like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was poo-pooing like maybe 6 months ago on the AI stuff because I just didn't want to take you out of it. Like you're the secret sauce in reality, right? People want to, vibe with you. And I was like, fuck AI, I don't want that because I don't want to lose the relationship. And I always tell the team, it's like, what's the difference between an email between me and you or a text between me and you? There's nothing personal. But if you could get on the phone, have a consultation meeting, people are going to get your vibe. They're going to get how you are, and you build a relationship. Huh?
I don't agree with what you just said, though.
Well, all right, that's cool.
An email and a text, I think you can tell the difference. So that I don't
really.
Yeah. If you email me or Rick emails me, I will know the difference. You write differently.
Yeah, but you know me and you know Rick. If you're just reaching out to a client,
what are we supposed to be doing with our clients? Aren't we supposed to be getting them to know, like, and trust us?
Yeah. So get belly to belly, buddy.
So you should be writing it yourself.
Huh?
So you should.
No, that's what I'm saying. You should be writing it yourself and not the AI part. That's why I didn't like that. But yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying in general, that's how what's the difference between that and, me or you doing it? Is there, you can't tell my tonality, how often are like texts and emails like misconstrued because people put stuff in caps and everybody's like all butthurt, like, oh, don't yell at me. You know what I mean? Have a conversation.
Well, that's a separate topic. Well, for me, because the separate topic is I think you're right that people misread them, but I think anything, the number one thing you can do is learn how to write like you speak, like learn how to actually communicate what you want like what you're saying is true. Like when you have the ability of tonality, but you can get better at writing so that you come out in the text. Like I'm like obsessed with that anymore and trying to figure out, and it's a constant skill, but like, if you take anything from this podcast today as something to work on, it's like try to learn how to write like you speak, and so that people also can understand, like at a simple level, what it is.
And if you can't, there's tools that you could kind of, not so much for lack of better words, dumb it down. But what is it called? The Keating something?
HemingwayApp.com.
The Hemingway app. Yeah. So the Hemingway app will help you write at a 3rd or 5th grade. You can kind of put in reading level. So then that way it's easier for the mass public to understand.
It tells you what level you've written it at is what it does, at least for free.
Yeah. But I think you could pay for the version that'll help you tweak it to where you want it to go.
Yes. But if you want to stay free, because I'm all about staying for free.
Free is for me.
You can actually, I've done it with Gemini, and I think it'll do it fine with ChatGPT too, but you can say, make this written at a 3rd grade level according to HemingwayApp.com. Because if you just say a 3rd grade level, it's going to come out with like kids terms, like literally. Yeah. But if you tell it according to HemingwayApp.com, you don't even like it's money. Like it's really, really good.
No, that's sweet. So you mentioned a couple of things, and we'll transition into your transaction coordination stuff, right? You're big on Folio. You like it for your back end to kind of keep your clients up to date of all the steps that are involved with the transaction, keeping the lender in the loop, the title company, the inspector, all that kind of stuff, all in the loop under that Folio app. Tell the people how that works for you and what you're doing, and then I'll explain mine, what I use for.
Yeah, and CC does a really, really similar thing. It's just it's more than we want to take on right now because our system works great. It's a well-oiled machine right now, but like I like what you're doing too. But anyway, we use Folio. I think it's by Amitry. I don't know how to say it, but hit me up if anybody wants a link. I'm probably got some affiliate link too. But I've never been able to leave it because the tracker is so good. Like it auto emails really well. I just really love for our clients, we do it for listings and for under contracts on the buy side. And this obviously when the listing goes under contract, but it is a real good 5 days until the appraisal or 3 days until inspection timeline. Like it does a really, really good job visually. So that's the main, like, I thought the front end with that first, and I mean, we've used it for, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I mean, maybe longer. Like it's definitely the problem with it though. If you go check it out, is there's not really a good task system. Like you create all these things, there's not really a good task system. So how I solved that temporarily was I made it all a calendar event, all in our separate Gmail account. And I'm color coded was how we did like to do, doing, done kind of stuff. It was like red, yellow, and green if it was done roughly, and that's how we watched it. We made Google Calendar our task system for that. We had our team members subscribe to the Google Calendar so they could see where our admin was. And, I have a video course on how to set that up. If anybody ever wants it, just shoot me a message. But what we did now,
post it in the SharkNation thing in the
yeah. Go to SharkNation Live, join the Facebook group. I'll give it there. What we did now was we just left the front end, left it as like it's just for the clients to check, and we took all those things we were managing in Google Calendar and just made them as action plans and follow-up boss. Now the negative, the only big complaint I have is you can't do like days before closing in that. So he's gonna have to manually set that, but it's all in follow-up boss is why we made the trade-off. So that's what we did.
Yeah, no. And like you said, whatever works for you, and switching over to a bigger system isn't always necessary. Like I said, we use Sisu for ours, that we could automate the tasks, assign tasks to like our transaction coordinator, our social media guy, whoever's going to be doing what.
Can I ask you on it though? Because does it sync with FUB in the task level?
Yeah, now
so task sync with FUB?
So everything syncs with FUB. Right from the beginning, I'll say it'll track for agents. They could put their yearly goals in for income. And it'll track how many conversations that they need to have. So there's like a little circle there, and it'll say, okay, how they're hitting to their goals. And then it'll say, okay, how many appointments set, appointment met, buyers signed, under contracts and closing. And it'll keep track for buyers and sellers, all the different appointments that they have in there for that. Does that for the team for transactions, so you can kind of see from like a high level P&L level exactly what you need to do for that. So it's been sweet. Now, has it been perfect? No. I mean, going into the task, marking them all complete, it's still a little bit of a learning curve. We just got it. I think we implemented right in May, June, right around there. So we're kind of building it out. Another way that it implements into FUB is that, if you create a deal in FUB, and you have them as a lead, and then you move them to appointment met or appointment set, it'll trigger a client portal where it'll walk them through like all the steps. Hey, you're going to meet with an agent. Here's about getting pre-approved. Here's about buyer agencies. Here's about XYZ. And then when you move them in FUB through under contract and pending, it'll create a task for Sisu to create a new deal. Sisu will upload all our docs into SkySlope, right? And then it creates that same kind of folio portal for the client for the transaction. Here's when your escrows due. Here's when your inspections are due. Your appraisal. Here's our closing date, and all those time frames in between.
I saw the portal I watched a lot of demo videos of Sisu, and I like it a lot. I've just been trying to I have a problem with adding too much tech, so I'm trying to be slow on that, especially with where we're at with our team right now. But if you have I know we got to start to wrap this up here. I just have a question. So that timeline, does it auto send out to the clients?
Yeah, because when you upload your deal, you'll have all the due dates in there when all the deadlines are, and then that'll transfer over to the portal for it.
Well, so let's say you marked one of them completed on the due date or passed, does that email the client every time that happens? Or
I don't think it auto emails them when something's due. I think it's kind of more of a general, here's your timeline, here's your dates based on what you put in.
So that's the one thing I really, really like about Folio. And I was curious, I didn't know if that does, because like what Dennis does, our admin, is he goes in and updates the say inspection deadline. it'll say like pending, and he'll update it to in progress, and they'll get
Mhm.
an email, and then he'll update it to done, and they'll get an email. And that's one thing I really, really, really like. So I'd be curious to see how that can, I'm sure there's a way, because Sisu is way more
Yeah,
robust.
there's all kinds of email notifications. I could say if you could trigger that based on when something's marked off, like, hey, you made it through this, now on to the next one or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And now when you have tasks for closing, they sync to FUB, you said?
Uh, so FUB will sync with Sisu. So if you're in FUB and you have create a deal and then you move them to appointment set, it'll do a portal. And then that appointment set and appointment met will calculate back into Sisu 2 to track all their numbers. And then what you call once you go under contract, then that's when that portal comes up with the under contract stuff and all the stuff, due diligence periods and all that.
Cool. Cool. That's really, really good for I like the calculating the goals too. Like that's really
Yeah, thank you, Matt Smith, for hooking me up. Super coach. Definitely, I mean, definitely would not have any of these systems without you. I had shit. Like anybody just looking at it, I didn't really have anything back in like basically March, April, May of this year. And then now it's like, okay, implementing new systems and processes. So I mean, don't get don't get hung up if you're not where you want to be, or maybe like I said, some of this stuff is expensive, but you could there's ways that you could start out and then you can slowly implement things. For me, as I was going to FUB, it made sense to do both at the same time.
well. And I think the number one thing to know is that if you can get the exact same tech stack as an agent that sells 60 to 80 houses a year, or a team that sells 1,000 houses a year, and it's nothing without the human connection and conversations you've got to have. And it's all just it's an extension. If your thoughts suck, you're going to write down shitty thoughts. So this technology will only, all it can really, really do for you, though, one thing I love to say about tech stack is it increases your capacity. Maybe as a human being, all you can handle is 20 deals a year. If you have the right transaction coordination, the right CRM systems, maybe you can now do 30 or 40 because you have that tech. So that's what it's designed for. I don't want anybody to watch this and think, well, I got to have this and I got to have that. No. But it is part of the game. It's 10, 20% to know that what you got to extend. So
yeah, and that's like I said, it's not for exactly what you said, but the whole key of any of these tech stacks is to focus on dollar generating activities and let the systems and processes do some of the stuff that you don't have to. It eliminates a lot of the questions that you're going to get. Hey, when's this due? Hey, when's our deadline due for this? All that kind of stuff where, you could be focusing on other, revenue generating ideas.
one other pro tip is do what the technology or what the app is designed for. Don't try to make it go too much outside of what it's designed for. I've been guilty of that.
Customizing a whole CRM to do all kinds of fancy stuff that you wanted.
Well, that, but not even just that. Like if I'm trying to think of a good example off the top of my head, but but it's a CRM is a CRM. It should be designed for that. It's not a full-blown transaction coordination system, so that's why I would never leave it and go not have Folio or not have Sisu. You know what I mean? Like use the app for what it's designed. That's the best part about Follow Up Boss. Is it plays nice with so many other things.
A lot of third-party integrations. It plays in a sandbox nicely with other things. So
the jack of all trades, like sometimes like Lofty and KB Core and some of the other ones, I mean, they're great. There's people that crush it with them. I'm not going to say they're not good, but like a lot of the times they're not the expert at some of the things they're trying to do. And that's been my takeaway from being through every CRM that's ever been thrown out, I think.
Well, the nice part too about, if we want to circle back to Follow Up Boss and kind of wrap it up with this, would be like integrating with all your different lead sources. How nice is it that you could have like your street text, your Google pay-per-click, all these different resources, and it all goes right to where you want it to go, and you can assign either per agent or round robin or first come first serve, or we have kind of like a calling shift thing for our times, but there's different ways that you could do it, and it's all in one system, which is nice.
It's the brain. There's no doubt in that. Awesome. Well, if anybody has any questions on any of the tech stack, feel free to Message
Yeah,
me, message
we might have
Jason.
to do a part 2, dude.
I
We didn't even
know.
get into half this shit.
I know. Maybe we'll do part
Text
2
Stack
deep
part
dive.
2. Same bad time, same bad place next week.
I'm in.
Tech Stack part 2. Yeah, to be continued.
Sounds good. Well, until next week, get after it.
Peace.